स्य श्री तनयं ततश्च विद्या अवाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं कुर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये मातापिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्पकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यं श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. In the previous two lectures, we were looking at Parabhakti, Parajnana, and Paramabhakti. We were looking at the differences between these terms because they are technical terms. Ideally, Para also means supreme, Parama also means supreme. Then Parabhakti and Paramabhakti should both mean the same thing. But as these are technical words used in specific ways by people, we saw the differences between the usages. And we also mentioned that these are different stages. So there is Parabhakti, which eventually develops into Parajnana. After that, that becomes Paramabhakti. That Paramabhakti leads to moksha. This is how the path is described in Bhakti. So you have devotion in the Supreme Being that essentially gets into your mind and conquers your mind. And that gives you extreme devotion. This is how Bhakti Yoga works. But as we have seen before, this Bhakti Yoga is a very difficult thing. It does not work so easily because you should be in that state all the time. Let us say I am performing puja. I am reciting some mantras, offering some flowers, doing something. In between, a mosquito comes and bites me. For a fraction of a second, I forget Bhagavan. I forget what I am doing. I stop reciting the mantra and I hit that mosquito. Where is my Parabhakti? Where is my Paramabhakti? They are all gone. Bhakti Yoga gets broken so easily by the bite of a mosquito. That is an example. There are 1 million ways by which Bhakti Yoga can get disrupted. Any number of times it can get disrupted. Even after you return to the state, you can again lose the focus. What will we do then? If that concentration is lost, you start bringing it again. You again perform prayashchitta. Like how Brahma performed again and again, he kept having to perform prayashchitta, then continue Bhakti Yoga. Then something else happens. Then there is no end to it. That is why we said perform prapatti. You perform sharanagati. Surrender to Bhagavan. And that surrender, we say, this surrender includes surrendering everything that you do. You surrender to him saying you are incapable. It is when you say you are incapable that you are acknowledging that by your own effort it is not possible to attain him. But he, being supremely compassionate, can grant that moksha. That is what is called as Sharanagati. So when Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja, aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. What is Krishna really trying to imply? If we look at Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Prabhupada has written Sarva dharman parityajya, leave all varieties of religion. But Shri Vaishnava Bhashya doesn't talk about religion there. We explain it in a totally different way. When Krishna says Sarva dharman parityajya, we say you leave behind all the senses of doership. The feeling that you are the doer, the feeling that you are the person who is doing this. Yes, I am trying, therefore I will achieve. You leave all of that. And mam ekam sharanam raja. You surrender to me alone. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will free you from all the sins. He is saying that. So we have to leave that kartrutva, that doership. Why should we leave that doership? In the Vedanta Sutras, Vyasa himself says, Karta Shastrarthavatvat. If we are to make sense out of the Shastras, we will have to admit that the Jiva is also a Karta. The Jiva is also a doer. Karta means doer. We are doing. It is not as though we are doing nothing and that we are just uh, thinking that we are alive and we are doing. It is not as though we are absolute puppets. There is some level of uh, free will. We have discussed that before. But when that is the case, we say that acknowledging doership is bad. If you acknowledge doership, you will get ahankara, mamakara. If I do not acknowledge doership, would it not be equal to cheating myself? We say it is not about cheating yourself. It is about understanding that although you can do, no matter what you do, you will not achieve that ultimate goal. That goal can be achieved only by stopping the thought process that you are the doer. Stop thinking that you are the doer. That is the way to attain that state. That is how it works. So, a question might arise. Why should we surrender? He is the supreme. Okay, if he is the supreme, can we surrender just because he is the supreme? He is the best. He has all the auspicious qualities. Okay, so what? Does it mean we have to surrender? Such questions might arise. In the beginning of Rahasya Trayasara, Swami Deshika indirectly addresses this question. That is a chapter where people are not supposed to have come to this advanced level of understanding about Bhakti, Sharanagati and everything. After explaining the Guru Parampara, Deshika starts the Upodhata, an introductory chapter. In that Upodhata Adhikara, there is a beautiful shloka. That shloka talks about the heritage of the Jiva, the Jivatma, what is its real nature and what has happened to it. Manivara iva shaurer nitya hridyopi jivaha kalushamatiravindan kinkaratvaabhirajyam vidhi parinati bhedat vikshitaste nakale guru parishad upajñam prapya gopayati svam, he says. Manivara iva shaurer nitya hridyopi jivaha. This jiva, it is having a very exalted position. It is not a very extremely inferior thing. In reality, it is supposed to have a very exalted position. How exalted? Manivara iva shaure. Bhagavan, Vishnu, he has a mani called Kaustubha. That Kaustubha, it is a gem that is there on his chest and it shines very brightly. We praise Vishnu. We many times describe Vishnu as having that Kaustubha. Now, this Kaustubha, how great is it? That is the level of greatness of the Jiva. Yet, what happened to the Jiva? If you say that it is at a low position, we can understand that it has to improve. But if you say that it is at a high position, how do we understand it if it is already high? No, it is not already at a high position. It is supposed to be at that kind of a level. But unfortunately, Kalushamati Ravindan Kinkaratwadhi Rajyam. There was Kalushamati, a kind of pollution. What is the cause of this pollution? The Anadikala Karma Sambandha. the karma not being perfect. We got free will, but we did not use it properly. What happened? Due to not using it properly, we started getting more and more distanced from him. As a matter of fact, the average jiva does not understand this. The average jiva does not understand Paramatma, the nature of Paramatma, what needs to be done to reach him, why to reach him. The Ardha Panchaka that we talked about is not known to the average person. Even in those days, it was not known. So Deshika says that due to this misfortune, the jiva does not know that he is the Adhipati, he is the Lord of Kainkarya towards Bhagavan. Not knowing that, Vidhi Parinati Bhedat Vikshitastena Kale Guru Parishadupanyam Prapya Gopayati Swa. Due to not knowing that, the jiva has become whatever it is right now. Yet, when there is a stroke of opportunity, when there is a stroke of luck, how would you get luck? Luck is an impossibility under the laws of karma. The laws of karma dictate that you get whatever is proportional to what you have done. As per the laws of karma, if you do good, you will get good. If you do bad, you will get bad. There is no such thing as luck. But if there is a chance for you to have done some good in such a way that it was not really intended to be extremely great, but it did happen to be extremely great because Bhagavan considers it to be a very great thing, then what would happen? What makes some karma great? Me declaring that it is great or Bhagavan thinking that it is great? He is the greatest. He knows what is great and what is not great. Therefore, when he judges it to be great, even though according to us it may not have been even a good karma, maybe we might say that, oh, that I did by chance. Yet Bhagavan will consider it to be great. Do we have an example? Let us take the example of Ajamila. Ajamila's story is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. What did Ajamila do? He was on his deathbed. On his deathbed, he is spending his last few moments. The Yamadutas are coming. At that time, he calls out to his son. His son's name is Narayana. Ajamila has forgotten Narayana since long. Yet he remembers his son and calls him. The son's name is the same as that of Bhagavan, and therefore Bhagavan gets pleased. And he prevents the entry into Naraka. This is how the story is given. How can this be justified? It can be justified. It is not luck, it is still karma. Even though he did not intend to call out to Vishnu, the fact that he used the word Narayana at that time itself was a karma phala. That phala was the result of some good karma, as a result of which Naraka was prevented for him by Bhagavan. After that, Ajamila lived a good life and later attained moksha. So, we were not originally there like the Kaustubha and then we fell. That is not so. But that is our original position and we have not realized it and therefore we have not attempted to reach there. Therefore, we have not gone there. We have not gone to the state of infinite bliss, infinite eternal bliss. That state of infinite eternal bliss, we have not been there because we did not know that we are fit for that. I got used to this. In this life, there is happiness and there is sadness. There is pleasure and there is pain. I got so used to this that I did not realize that there is a state of supreme bliss that the Vedas are talking about that could actually be attained by me. And therefore, I never tried. Yet, somehow, if something good happens, then by the grace of the Guru Parishad, the Guru Parampara, the Gurus, the great scholars who are there to guide us, with their blessings, we can still go there and attain that. This is what Deshika is saying. To explain this, he gives an example. It is the example of a prince. Let us say there was a great king. That great king had a son. Unfortunately, the son was lost. How could that be? Let us assume, let us try to prepare a story where the child is lost. Let us say the king goes to hunt. During the hunting trip, his son is born. But something happens. Maybe there is very heavy rain, maybe many wild animals attack, maybe a pack of wolves attack, whatever, something happens. In that, he loses the child. Now the king goes back to the kingdom. After searching, he could not find the child. He goes back to the kingdom. The king is continuing there in the kingdom. What about the child? The child is originally supposed to become the prince of that country and then get to rule along with his father. Instead of that, what is happening to the child? It gets found by some hunters. It gets found by some tribals who are living in the forest. They are bringing up that child. When these tribals bring up the child, they bring it up in a very different way. The child is not seeing the riches, not seeing the comforts, not seeing the noble mannerisms of the princely family. He is living a very, very ordinary life. In fact, inferior to ordinary, as he is living in the forest. He is bearing all the extremities of climate. He is facing wild animals. So many things he is facing. He is growing up to be a totally different person. What has happened here? He was supposed to become the prince and rule along with his father. But he has become just another hunter in the tribe of hunters. Somebody came and started raising him up. So what is he going to do? He is also going to grow into a tribal only. He is not going to know the reality of his lineage. Nobody is there to tell him. The others who are with him, they also don't know that he is a prince. How can they help him? They also cannot help him, no matter how genuine they are. But eventually, let us say, eventually, some sage passes by. Some sage who knows the truth, who was there, let us say, along with the king back when that hunting happened. Or maybe some sage who performed meditation and therefore when he looks at a person, he can automatically find out about their lineage. Whatever. Somebody who knows the truth is entering the forest, looking at that boy. That boy is now grown up. Let us say he's an adolescent. Or maybe whatever in his young age, young and youthful age, where he understands everything that he is taught. He may look like a tribal and all of his activities may be like a tribal, but this sage would see through all of that. This sage would understand that he is the prince who was born in the forest. If this sage shows compassion, then the prince could learn. Is that compassion enough? No. The sage has to tell the prince, convince the prince. The prince has to agree to move out. The prince has to change his mannerisms as well. He will have to be trained because if he enters the capital city dressed like a tribal and behaving like a tribal, and if he says, I am the prince of this country, people would laugh at him. Nobody would let him inside. Even his father might not accept him. Who knows? But if he is properly trained in the mannerisms of a prince and then taken to the city, nobody will stop him. And the king, will be extremely happy to receive him. This is how the things work. Just like the prince who was supposed to be with the king, but didn't get to. Of course, in this case, he was there with the king and then got separated. In the case of the Jiva, we were not originally in the state of moksha. Vishishtadvaitha does not acknowledge that. But we are separated from him, although we are supposed to be with him. And for that, knowing that we have to be with him, knowing what to do in order to be with him, all of that, knowing the truth about ourselves. How do we know all of that? By the grace of some guru. Some guru comes and teaches us. And by following it, we follow the Shastras and ultimately go to the great Rajya of Bhagavan. This is the story of the prince that is given as an example. Just like how the prince spends several years in the forest, the Jiva spends several lives. How many minutes has the prince spent? Let us say the prince grew up to be 25 years old. 25 years, each year has 365 days. Each day has 24 hours. Each hour has 60 minutes. How many minutes has he spent in his life? Numerous minutes. How many seconds? How many microseconds? Now, just imagine what if each microsecond were compared to the lifetime of a Jiva. Just like how the prince spent so many microseconds in the forest, millions and millions of them. The Jiva has spent millions and millions of lifetimes without knowing its purpose, without knowing where it should be. As we say, Simhena bhutva bahavo mayataha, Vyagrena bhutva bahavo mayataha. I spent so many lives as a lion. I spent so many lives as a tiger. We took different births. Once in a while, we took human births, but we still did not understand that there is this great thing that we are meant for. And we did not proceed there. We did not go there. We did not try. And therefore, we did not get it. Now, finally, by the grace of the gurus, we are learning and we are trying to improve. So, Aneka janma sahasrim samsara padavim rajan mohashramam prayatosau vasanarenu kundhitaha. This shloka is cited by Deshika. He cites this shloka saying the Jiva has spent so many thousands of years sunk in this samsara, not knowing that there is something superior. Thanks to the Guru, now it learns Tattva, Hita, Purushartha, and it tries to attain Purushartha Kashtha, that is Moksha. There is a story of two parrots, which is also narrated in this regard. Deshika says, the prince, if he had grown in the palace, he would have behaved in a very different way. But because he grew in the forest, he grew up in a totally different way. Do we have an example of this? Why are we creating a story out of nowhere? No, there is some example that we can see in literature already. What is that example? It is the example of the parrot. So there is a story of two parrots. One parrot narrates the story. Matapyeka pitapyekah mama tasya cha pakshinah aham munibhiranitah sachanito gavashanaihi. Matapyeka pitapyeka. The parrot says, that bird, the other parrot, as well as myself, of both me and that bird, mama tasya cha pakshinah, mata api eka, pita api ekah. The mother is the same, father is the same. That parrot is my brother. Our parents are one and the same. We had the same mother, we had the same father. Yet, aham munibhiranitah, I was brought up by sages. Sacha anitah gavashanaihi. Whereas that parrot was brought up by butchers who would slaughter even cows. I was brought up by sages. He was brought up by butchers. So what? Both of you have the same mother and same father, right? Wouldn't you behave in the exact same way? The parrot says, Aham muninam vachanam shrunomi, gavashananam cha vacha shrunoti, pratyakshametad bhavatapi drishtam, samsargaja dosha guna bhavanti. Aham muninam vachanam shrunomi. Therefore, as I have been brought up by sages, I listen to the words of the sages. What do the sages say? The sages pray, may there be welfare for the entire society. May everybody be happy. Sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu. Sarve santu sukhinaha. Sarve santu niramayaha. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. That is how we say. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. Let everybody be happy. Let everybody be void of any kind of problem or disease. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Let everybody see auspiciousness. This is the way in which people pray. This is the way in which sages speak. Completely auspicious things. Gavashananam cha vacha shrunoti. But my brother, he listens to the words of butchers. What do the butchers say? Cut that cow, kill that cow, break that leg, get me that meat, get me that dead body. This is how the butchers would speak. We cannot blame the butchers for that. That is their job. But how are the butchers behaving? This is how the butchers are behaving. We cannot expect them to speak like sages. Butcher will speak like a butcher. Aham muninam vachanam shrunomi, gavashananam cha vacha shrunoti. So the parrot, my brother, he was born to the same parents as me, but he listens to violent and gory statements made by the gavashanas. Pratyaksham etad bhavatapi drishtam samsarga dosha guna bhavanti. And therefore, O sir, by you also it has been seen live that it is by association that good qualities and bad qualities come. Samsargaja dosha guna bhavanti. Samsargajaha, by association, they take birth. Who take birth? Doshas and gunas, bad qualities and good qualities. They all take birth depending on the kind of association that we have. I was associated with saintly people. Therefore, I am speaking saintly things. He was associated with butchers. Therefore, he is speaking those kinds of things. This is the example given by the parrot. And not the example, it is the story narrated by the parrot, which is an example cited by Swami Deshika. In the same way, as he has been born to a king, but has been brought up by tribals, all of his policies, his ways of thinking, his ways of looking at the world, his ways of understanding, everything is different. Everything has to be trained. It is not easy. He might have great pride in being in the forest and hunting animals. He might take great pride. Oh, look, I hunted that animal today. Look, I killed that bird today. He might be taking very great pride. But he has to come out of it. So that has to be removed. He has to learn what needs to be done, not only how to behave, but also what all to know as a prince. The prince who is there in the palace, he would be studying about administration. He would be studying about warfare, how to protect the country, this, that, so many topics. All of that will have to be studied. For all of that, this guy will have to grow the qualifications. So, only when this boy who is being brought up in the forest is able to know the truth, accept the truth, get desire to go and become a prince there, and then get the necessary knowledge and get the necessary skills, the qualifications. Only after all of these happen, he will be able to go to the kingdom. Otherwise, as a great sage, this guy is an idiot. He doesn't study anything. He doesn't know administration. He knows absolutely nothing. Just because he is the king's son, if the sage takes him to the kingdom and says, he is your son, let him become your successor, what will happen to the country? The country will also have to be protected. Therefore, if the sage truly has compassion for the boy, he will have to train the boy. All of that training will have to be given, and the boy should also be receptive to that training. When he receives all of that training and becomes qualified, then he enters. Everything will be successful. It is in the exact same way that the jiva is also trained. It is given the necessary qualifications, and with that, the jiva goes and attains Bhagavan. Now, the prince got lost in the forest. What happened to us? Due to our own karma, our avidya grew. This avidya, if that avidya is removed, will we automatically be there? No. That was in Advaita. In Advaita, he says when avidya is removed, you automatically get moksha. Here, that is not what is happening. Even when the avidya is removed, I know that I should be there. That knowledge is not enough. I have to take the initiative, do the appropriate karma. So knowledge is there, and after that, kriya is also there. I need the knowledge, and based on the knowledge, I need to take appropriate action. When both of them are done, I will be able to break free from the bondage of karma and get rid of avidya. So, for the jiva to get out of karma, what needs to be done? We have to first understand that we are bound by karma. Is understanding enough? No, it is necessary but not sufficient. Let us say I do only good karma. Will I get out of the cycle of karma? No. Even if I do good karma, firstly, there is no guarantee that I would continue doing good forever. There is a chance that at some point of time, I may do something bad, knowingly or unknowingly. There is a chance that I think something is good that I am doing, but it ends up becoming bad. There is no guarantee. There is a chance that I forget. There is a chance that when it is my duty to do good, I am not doing that good, intentionally or unintentionally. Unintentionally is when I forget. Intentionally is when I knowingly refuse to do good. So many possibilities are there. Let us say I do good karma perfectly throughout my life. I am not hit by any of these. Then will I get out of the cycle of karma? No. Then also I will only get Swarga. In Swarga, I will experience pleasures. After that, I will again be reborn. Why should I be reborn again? I did only good karma. Why didn't I get moksha? Because no matter what karma you do, karma is measurable. We may not have the ability to use units and measurement on karma, but in reality, Karma is measurable. There is a difference between giving the fisherman a fish and teaching the fisherman how to fish. Correct? In the same way, there is a difference in karma. There is a difference between donating to one beggar and donating to five beggars. Obvious difference. So karma is measurable. We don't know the units, we are unable to measure. But in reality, they are completely measurable. As karmas are measurable, no matter how much good karma I do, it would be a finite positive amount of good karma. For that finite positive amount, I am going to get the karma phala in the form of some kind of pleasure. Maybe just the mind, maybe with the body, whatever. Some kind of pleasurable experience is going to come to me. Now that pleasurable experience, that karma phala, is proportional to my karma. And therefore, once the karma expires, the karma phala will also expire. After that, take birth again. So the Swarganubhava will end. It has an end. After I'm reborn, I would again have to try. Maybe if I do good karma again, I can again go to Swarga. But what is the point? It is not eternal. And being good all the time to attain Swarga, it is not that easy. Is there any other way to get Swarga? There are paths mentioned like Jyotishtoma. But Jyotishtoma will also give you only this phala. There is nothing superior that you can get through it. And therefore, good karma alone can never be enough for us. The Alvar said good karma is also like bad karma for us. Punya is also like papa for us because we want to attain moksha. Anything that prevents moksha is an enemy of moksha, and therefore we will consider it as papa karma. We have discussed that part before. So, punya will give punya phala. Punya karma phala will be pleasure. At times, this pleasure could make us to forget that there is something superior. There is some state of infinite eternal pleasure. I might forget it. Experiencing the pleasure of today, I might forget that there is something better to achieve. I might forget the purpose. I might forget the nature of the jiva, the nature of the Paramatma, Bhagavat Sheshatva, Shariratva, all of what we have discussed before. I might forget that because I'm living a very comfortable lifestyle. If I forget it, whose loss is it going to be? It is going to be my loss. So, it is possible for even punya karma to prevent us from getting moksha. I did punya, I went to Swarga, I experienced all the Raja Bhogas. I decided that I should continue enjoying. I stopped searching for moksha, and that is it. With papa karma, it's easier to explain. You do something bad, you keep suffering. As you are suffering, you think only about the suffering and how to get out of the suffering. And therefore, you are not traveling towards moksha. Vritrasura was powerful enough to defeat Indra. Yet he understood the greatness of Narayana, performed Sharanagati, and did not mind getting killed by Indra. He started aiming for moksha. So it is not necessary that only the poorest people, only the most downtrodden, only the depressed people, they can go and advance. Anybody and everybody can advance. Anybody and everybody should advance. But we are not doing it. Kalushamatira vindan kinkaratva vidhi parinati bhedat vikshitaste nakale guru parishadupajñam prapya gopayati svam. So, the jiva, having forgotten that there is something greater, maybe due to punya, maybe due to papa, it is again and again taking birth. It has to get out of this bondage of karma. How do you get out? Remove kartrutva. But if I remove kartrutva, there is a chance of me becoming evil. I'm not doing this. Bhagavan is making me do this. If I take a machine gun, shoot everybody around me, and then say, I'm not the doer, he is the doer. See, I'm doing karma phala tyaga. I'm doing kartrutva tyaga. Bhagavan said, Sarva dharman parityajya. I left all dharmas. I have only adharma left in me. If an idiot interprets the Bhagavad Gita in that way, he says, Bhagavan said, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja. I have left all dharmas. I have only adharma. Now the police is running after me. Therefore, I am surrendering to Bhagavan. Because only he can save me from the police. Very logical, right? But Bhagavan has promised that he will save me. He is the reason why I am committing all the crimes. If I get caught, even in the court, this is what I am going to say. Bhagavan said, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja. Leave all dharmas and then come and surrender to me. That is what I did. He said, Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. He is going to grant me moksha. Who are you to pronounce any kind of punishment? Give me any punishment you like. When I die, I am going to get moksha. What will happen if people start arguing in that way? It is going to create utter chaos. Therefore, we need to understand the real Svarupa of the Jiva, of ourselves. We need to understand the purpose of life. We need to understand that there is some supreme state that we are eligible for. And having understood that, the path towards it, where do we get that path from? Shastra Yonitvat, says Vyasa. It is only through the Shastra that you learn it. But how do I learn the Shastra? Guru Parishadu Pajñam Prapya Gopa Yati Swam. It is through the Guru Parishad. It is with the help of authentic gurus, Siddham Sat Sampradaye, Sthiradhyamanagam, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, those kinds of gurus. So, we have to approach. In the case of the prince, some good people happened to go there and those saints helped him. Do we see saints helping us all the time? In Islam, there is a belief. They say, during the lifetime of a human being, every human being is given a chance at least once in their life to accept Islam and convert to Muslim. If they accept, they will become Muslim. If they reject, they will get eternal hell. What do we say? We say there is no guarantee that you would keep getting the chances. That is also going to depend on your past karma. But you are not going to be eternally damned. Somewhere, some good you would have done. That good will also give its phala. Vidhi parinati bhedat vikshitaste nakale. By chance, some good that you have done, Bhagavan looks at that. He tries to reward you for it. As a reward of that, you get knowledge of advancing spiritually. And that knowledge, you catch on to it. You cling on to it. You try to continue traveling in that direction. You take the help of the Guru. You surrender to your Guru. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, as Krishna says. By surrendering to that Guru takes you, assuming that Guru is also an authentic person. He takes you forward. So, you need avidya nivritti. You need to get out of avidya. And avidya is of several types. Thinking that I am the body is one type of avidya. Thinking that I am the Atma, is that complete vidya? Sa vidya ya vimuktaye. The greatest vidya is that which gives us moksha. Just knowing that I am not the body is not enough. It is necessary, but not sufficient. Adi Shankaracharya also says the same thing. In Advaita, under sadhana chatushtaya, there is nitya nitya vastu viveka. The ability to discern between that which is nitya and that which is not nitya. What is nitya? Atma is nitya. What is not nitya? Deha is anitya. The body is not permanent. The Atma is permanent. The intelligence to discern between the two is one sadhana that you need if you are going towards moksha, says Adi Shankaracharya. We also say the same thing. We say, yes, you should get out of this Dehatma Bhranti. You should not think that you are the body. You should think that the body is different. You are different. But is that thought enough? That thought is not enough. There are many more things that need to be done. I am the Atma, yet I am responsible for this body. When will I claim responsibility? If I claim responsibility, I cannot get moksha, right? We said you have to drop kartrutvam. No, you drop kartrutvam, behave the way Bhagavan wants you to behave, and then declare that he is the one who is moving you. Do all of these. Then it would be surrender. I have to behave the way he wants me to. Anukulyasya sankalpaha. I should avoid behaving in the way that he does not like. Pratikulyasya varjanam. Rakshishyati iti vishwasaha. Have faith that he will protect me, that he will save me. And go there. Surrender to Bhagavan. And by surrendering to him that way, with Goptritva Varana, Atma Nikshepa, complete surrender of the self, and faith that, yes, I cannot save myself, but he can definitely save myself. I am helpless by myself. But with his grace, everything can be attained. Atma Nikshepa Karpanye Shadvidha Sharanagati. That is the concept of Sharanagati. So we get out, we perform Sharanagati. We live the way he wants us to be. Therefore, we are not going to be criminals. We are not going to harm the society in any way. At the same time, we are saying, I am living this way because I am used as an instrument by Bhagavan to live in this way. And therefore, we are not acknowledging that we ourselves are living this way. So if I live as a very good man, people come and praise me. Oh, you are the best man of India. If I accept the praise, it means I have ahankara. I have ahankara if I accept the praise. It is a low level of ahankara. If I think, oh, I am the greatest, everybody else is inferior, that is another level of ahankara. But if I accept the praise given by them, it means I have not come out of doership. So whenever there is good, you say, it is by his grace, it is by Bhagavan's grace that something good is happening. Whenever something is bad, you say, like how what Bharata said, Mat papamevatra. He says, it is my sin. Where does this come? In Valmiki Ramayana. Bharata has gone to his uncle's house, Ayodhya Kanda. Kaikeyi devises a plan to send away Rama. She talks to Dasharatha. Dasharatha doesn't listen. He tries a lot to convince her. She doesn't listen. She says, no, you have given me the boon. You have given me two promises. You have to keep the promise. Dasharatha says, okay, what other choice is there? He does not speak. According to Valmiki, it is Kaikeyi who does the talk. Kaikeyi tells Rama, your father had given me two boons, and I have asked that one boon should be that Bharata becomes the king, and the second boon be that you go to the forest for 14 years. Rama leaves to the forest. The entirety of Ayodhya keeps crying. Everybody is sad. Everybody is angry at Dasharatha. Everybody is angry at Kaikeyi, but nothing can be done. Rama decides to leave and he leaves to the forest. After all of that has happened, Bharata finally returns to Ayodhya. He sees an absolutely gloomy city. Nobody is happy. Nobody is enjoying. The streets do not seem lively. The Ayodhya that he had known is very different from the Ayodhya he is seeing. He comes to know the reason that Rama has been sent away. He goes to the court and he keeps a discussion. Who is the reason why Rama went away? Some people say, your father is the reason. Your father was a fool. He gave boons to Kaikeyi. Your father was a fool. Even when Kaikeyi was exploiting those boons, he did not stop her. Your father is a fool. He was blindly in love with Kaikeyi. Some people said in this way. Some other people said, Kaikeyi is the reason. Your father is a good man, but Kaikeyi was an evil woman. What can we do about that? She is the real reason. Your mother is the reason why Rama was sent away. Bharata says, forget all of them. I think I am the reason. I have sinned so much that I am not blessed to be with my older brother. I am not blessed enough to serve my older brother. He has gone away. I am not blessed to be in his presence. It is definitely my past sins that have resulted in the exit of Rama from Ayodhya. In that way, Bharata laments. So, whenever something bad happens, we acknowledge that it is because of us and not because of Bhagavan. Oh, how is this fair? When something is good, you say Bhagavan is giving. When something is bad, you say you are only doing it. How is this fair? It is fair because all the suffering that we have is a result of our past karma. All the good thing that we have, all the pleasures that we have, they are also results of our past karma. But if we start thinking, oh, I achieved this, we will never advance and get moksha. Therefore, we have to do tyaga. We have to forego that. For that reason, we say that it was given by Bhagavan. And Bhagavan asks you to be good. He asks you to do good things. Therefore, whenever something good happens, you praise Bhagavan. But when something bad happens, who should we blame? We should blame ourselves. Not even the others. We should blame ourselves. When something bad happens, blame yourself. This is one of the teachings of Tirupavai. Andal Nachiyar in her Tirupavai. She says, Nanedan Ayuduga. What does it mean? When there is something bad happening, think that I am only the cause of it. That does not mean you get into depression and suffer. It means we understand that any kind of phala that we get, pleasure or pain, that is a result of our own doing only. Any kind of suffering that we get is a result of our own doing. We cannot blame Bhagavan for that. So, if Bhagavan is like rain pouring down, we are different seeds. The seed near me is growing into a great tree. I am a hopeless seed. I grow into a very tiny sapling, weak and frail. Is it the fault of the rains? No, it is not the fault of the rains. It is the fault of the seed itself. So, in the same way, it is the fault of the jiva. This particular example is given by Shankaracharya as well as Deshika, the seeds and the rain. So, when something bad happens, the reason for that is me and not Bhagavan. And therefore, arguments like, is God not omnipotent? Is he not all compassionate? All of those nonsensical questions asked by the atheists will get their answers. So, we have to get out of karma. We have to get out of avidya. But we should get out while thinking that we are not the ones getting out. It is Bhagavan who is taking us out. How do we do that? We approach him and surrender to him. Simple as that. You get inside the train. You are only traveling to Delhi. But are you really moving? No, I'm just sitting there. It is the train that is taking me there. I went and surrendered to the train. I sat inside the train. And I said, oh train, no matter where you are taking me, I have faith in you. I know that you will take me to the right destination because I have come to the correct train. I have come to the correct train and I have surrendered to it. Now the destination is known to the train, it will take me there. When I book an Uber, I may not know the route, but I surrender to the cab driver. Why? Even if he does not know, he will use the Uber app, which has some Google Maps API. It will look at the location and take me to the correct location. I don't have to keep looking at it, assuming the best case scenario where the location works well. In the case of Bhagavan, it is the best case scenario. He is all knowing. And he is all compassionate. And therefore, when we surrender to him, he will take us to the perfect place. Is he going to take us? Do we have nothing to do after surrendering? That is a point of importance on this topic as to what happens after surrendering. Should I do anything after surrendering or should I not do? Is just plain surrender enough? In fact, is surrender even necessary? Lots of such questions are there. Based on what kind of questions are asked and how the scholars replied, there are differences of opinions within the Vishishtadvaitha school itself. The nature has been explained, they have accepted Vishishtadvaita. But inside Sri Vaishnava, we do have two major sects. One of the major points of differences has to do with this only, about what happens in Sharanagati. So there is one Marjaranyaya and Markatanyaya that they talk about. One is a cat, one is a monkey. How does the cat treat its child? How does the monkey treat its child? Can we just go by examples and then assume that this is what is going to happen to us? What do the scriptures really say? What are the implications of the words of scriptures? On these lines, when research is done, we would see that, at least as of today, there are two different sides. Yet both of them accept Vishishtadvaita, both of them accept Sharanagati, both of them accept all of what was discussed in today's class. So that difference is there. More on the differences we will see in the next class. For today, the class is over. If anybody has any question, please feel free to ask. Okay, there seems to be no question. I hope uh, everything in the class was understandable and wasn't too deep or technical. Please feel free to give me feedback regarding that. As there's no question, we'll conclude the class now. श्रीवत्सवं शकलशोदधिकौस्तुभस्य श्रीवासराघवगुरोस्तनयं ततश्च विद्यावाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं पूर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यम्